Hello, everyone. My name is Adora Nweke, and this is GST 101, the English sounds. Okay, I'm going to start off with an introduction, and that introduction, I like it to be a discursive introduction. So, it is when you know a particular language and then you can speak that particular language. That is when you are certain you are conversant with the letters and the sounds of that particular language. I mean, certain as when you can speak that language effectively is not when you can haphazardly speak a language, and then that is when you know that you know this language, and then you are conversant with the sounds. Though some can speak a language without being lettered about the sound. I've seen people who had spoken particular languages or a particular language without knowing the sound. But when the native speaker of that language comes to speak that same language, they will find they will find themselves wanting or probably not proficient enough in that particular language. And then I want to consider those people as exceptional, who can speak a language without being lettered about it. So when you know the English language, you know the sounds that are represented by the letters. The sounds, I mean, is not the orthography. I know most of you know the orthography, the A, B, C, D, the 26 letters. That's right. So what now we are talking about the English sounds. Okay, so when you combine B, I, N together, you bring those sounds together, it means being. Okay, do you know the sounds already? You're not going to say it is bien. Okay, so but other people who speak other languages can give it a different tonation or a different pronunciation, but it's different with you because you know English already. So now the human vocal tract is designed in such a way that it can contain all the sounds of all the languages in the whole world. You'll be asking, what is the human vocal tract? This is it. When you put your hand on the neck, and you try to speak, you can feel the movements going up and down. That is the human vocal tract. It produces all the sounds, and then probably can articulate all words, but depending on the language depending on the language that is concerned this time around. So this is the reason why you can find yourself, one person can speak like about 5 international languages, including a mother tongue and national language, because of the vocal cord. Vocal cord is made in such a way that anybody can use it to speak any language and probably pick any sound. It's fashioned that way. So this vocal cord or vocal track is also called voice box. You can also call it a pharynx. Okay. First, this is where these sounds undergo important modifications, and they are finally produced through the intended channel. The intended channel, it could be the sound could be coming out bilabial through your lips. It could be coming out through the nasal. Okay, that intended channel. So this course will discuss these sounds, how they are produced, how they are identified, and how they are classified at the same time. So I like us to go through the sounds. Okay, so the next one is the identification of the speech sound. How do you identify a speech sound? Okay, let me take you back a little bit. When you were a little bit small, they told you in primary school, they told you, your teachers told you that we have 5 vowel sounds. I don't know if you remember that, the preliminary stages of your learning, you were told about the 5 vowel sounds, And these 5 vowel sounds are realized as E, A, R, O, U. Okay, the way you knew it has been realized before, or the production before, is different from the way I did realize it now, or pronounced it. So now these 5 vowels, they stand as the modification of all other vowels, and they are totaling 44. They are 44 speech sound. Note, now identifying this speech sound, one must have to know that no two speakers can actually speak same word identically. Do you know why? Because the mood is involved, the tone is in, the tonation is involved, the pitch is involved. It depends on the disposition the personality is having at that particular time. So the speech signal differs, okay, either in mood or in the way the sound is pronounced, or any other thing could come into play. So no two speakers can sound the same. So the English speech sound is orthographic. Representation. I like to take that back. I said the English speech sound in orthographic representation has just 26 letters. I mentioned that before now. The English orthography it has 26 letters, and they are, you know it already, A, B, C, D, but fine, when you are realizing them in sound, it is A, B, C to Z or Z. Okay, so this identification is not something that is out of this world. It's just for you to know that these letters, the orthography, it's not the same with sounds. Okay, then you know that a phonemic sound here is identified at the smallest speech sound. A is already a phonemic symbol, smallest speech sound. So, but these letters are further split into 2 categories. Okay, into 2 categories. The first one are the pure vowels, that's monotongue. You can call them monotongues too. So we have the pure vowels, then we have the diphthongs, the 12 vowels, then the diphthongs 8, 12 plus 8, you have 20. Then the consonants are 24. So by the time you bring them together, you have 44 speech sounds. So I'd like you to know that orthography or alphabetic spellings do not represent the sounds of the language in a consistent way. So that's why you will have other languages representing or spelling out the sounds. In Igbo language, we have the sounds, about 36 of them. Okay, the 36 of them are still the sounds, but in English they have these letters, then they have the sounds. Okay, they have the sounds different, so you can actually make contact with them differently. So having said that, this is why the study of speech sound is called phonetics, and the study of sounds in company is called phonology. It sounds in company, you might want to know what that means. If I say A, or if I say W is just one speech sound. But if I bring WAR, they are already sounds in company. Okay, so it's now wall, CAR, car. But if I say just C, it's just one sound, one speech sound. So that sounds in company. To identify or describe speech sound, it is necessary to know that what an individual sound is and how each sound differs from others. It is important, it's imperative to know that. So this is because when we speak, we produce sounds in company without knowing when a sound started and when a sound ended. Okay. The next is the classification of the speech sound. How are these sounds classified? Simply, they are classified into segmental and supra-segmental features. How is that? Segmental features are the consonants and the vowel sounds. Then when we go to supra-segmental features, we talk about the stress, where the stress appears in a word. We talk about the tone, and we talk about the rhyme or the rhythm. Okay, so now this is the consonants. Consonants. How do you define consonants? Consonants are produced with some striction or closure in the vocal tract or somewhere around oral cavity that impedes the flow of the air from the lungs. That is what you will be having as an experience anytime you are talking about consonant sounds. Okay, this partial or complete obstruction of the flow of air has 3 parameters for notification, which are place of articulation, number 1, manner of articulation, and state of glottis. These are the 3 criteria for measuring a consonant sound. The place of articulation is the point in the vocal tract where a speech sound is produced. Okay, then the different places of articulation, it exemplifies the parts in the oral cavity that helped in the production of the sound. And we can see some of the examples as the bilabial, labiodental, dental, alveolar, platal, alveolar, platal, velar, and glottal. Those are the different places of articulation. So the manner of articulation refers to the degree of obstruction. What is the highest degree of obstruction? Is it low? Is it high? The state of glottis is when the walls of the larynx is drawn apart, is either thrown apart, open, so that these sounds could come out. And when it is thrown apart, you have a sound produced as voiceless sound. But when it is touching, or probably it is there are strictures in the production that makes the vocal cord begin to vibrate, then the sound produced is voice. Okay, so either way we'll have voiced or voiceless consonant sound. Okay, yeah, the first one here is a phonetic alphabet for English pronunciation. I want you to see this. I'm trying to see if I can make it bolder so you can see. You can see on the consonant, the aspect, the side on the left, you have the consonant. You can say P as in peel, T, teal, K, keel, B, beel, D, deal, G, gall, M, meal. You can see the representation there. Okay, there are other sounds like ch, th, as in tie, thin, d, as in dine. It goes on and on. So when you count that, you'll find the 24. Then when you count this one here, the vowels, beat, bit, bait, cart, car, pot, port, left, pill, pool, water, measure, a, today, L, slow, I, ice, L, allow, I, toy, here, A, like A, here, ear. The sound there is a or ear. Okay, so it goes on L, like in goat. There, like, see the sound there, a. Okay, so that's for the vowels and then the consonant. Look at them, the complete consonant sound, the complete consonant chart rather. I hope you can see this. So you can see on the top the places of articulation on the top, and then at the right you can see the manner of articulation. So I like us to look at the place of articulation and its sound production. Okay, this is where in the vocal track the air restriction or strictures occur, and these places are, namely, number one, we have bilabials. What are the bilabials? The bilabials are just your two lips together, the upper lip. So like I said before, I said places of articulation and its sound production. The first place, as you can see on this, is the bilabials, and I said, what are the bilabials? The bilabials are just your two upper lips, your two lips rather, the upper lip and then the down lip. They are the bilabials, and there are sounds that could come out there. So when you produce these sounds, we articulate by bringing both lips together. Okay, that's the description of both lips together. So when you bring both lips together, the sounds you get are B, P, M, W. Okay, if you try every other sound in the consonant chart, you might not get sounds apart from this that you could produce by bringing two lips together. The next one is labiodentals. The labiodentals. What are the labiodentals? The space between the teeth and the lips. What are the sounds you could get from there? You have the V and the F. We also use our lips to form this sounds. We articulate the sound by touching the bottom lip to upper teeth. Once you do that, you're going to realize this sound. The other sounds, interdental, we are sure of the th. I don't know, it has disappeared from this chart. Okay, PowerPoint maybe could not accommodate such symbol. It's really hectic trying to have the symbols in here, so it has disappeared, but you can see the th there, so it's th. And then the other one is d, 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 like dine or these. Okay, those are the interdentals. When you're pronouncing them, you have by inserting the tip of the tongue between the teeth. Let's look at it. Let's do it this way. Look at it. And dine. Okay, it's just that way. The next one is the alveolars. We have T, D, N. You'll be wondering, what's the alveolar? Okay, let me take you through this little practical. Can you raise the tip of your tongue, to the roof of your mouth? Raise the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Then waggle the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, like, yeah. Okay, when you do that, if you experience sensitivity, that's your alveolar. So you have these sounds realized by having the tongue raised in various ways, to the alveolar ridge. And alveolar ridge is another one. Alveolar ridge is that part of the roof of the mouth that's holding your teeth in. So now you have T, okay, D, you have N. Okay, you can't realize the sounds without raising the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Okay, another one there, you have the palatals, you have the glottal, the velar, okay, and then this, it goes on and on. Then we have the approximants too. So those are the description. Okay, then let's look at the manner of articulation. The manner of articulation, you know, remember when I was showing you the consonant chart, I showed you those placements at the top right, I described no, those placements at the left, rather, the ones at the left are the manner of articulation. So the manner of articulation can simply go to mean the activities, what goes on in the production of a particular sound. You know, what happens when a particular sound is about being produced, how the air is being trapped. Is it trapped in the lungs, you know, trapped somewhere at the velar, or trapped probably the trachea, you know, and then the release, what happens in the release of the air, you know, is it coming with a force, is it with a slide, it's a smooth release. Okay, those are the activities. So according to Fromkin, Rodman, and Heyman, you know, speech sounds also vary in the way airstream is affected as it flows from the lungs up and out of the mouth and nose. It may be blocked or partially blocked. The vocal cords may vibrate or not vibrate. We refer to this as the manner of articulation. You see that on the page 198 of that book. So now the different degrees of these obstruction or strictures are realized in 6 classifications, and then we have them as plosive or stops, we have them as nasals, fricative, affricates, glide, approximant. Okay, so what happens when you want to produce a plosive sound, a sound identified, or probably its manner of articulation is described as plosive? One, you have that there is a complete blockage, you know, blocking of the airstream in the oral cavity, like a trapping of air for a while, then with a burst that pushes the sound out. Okay, let's see if we can get a little bit of practical on that. When we want to produce the sound B, okay, okay, can you put your hand on your vocal tract, your trachea, simply your throat? Yeah, your throat. Okay, try hold it tight like you're trying to choke yourself. I'm not saying to choke yourself, but put your hands there. Okay, I'm sure by now you're feeling the movement of your vocal tract. Okay, so now let's pronounce this sound B. B. Okay, did you see before you could get that sound out? First, the air was trapped just along. The air was trapped just along your lungs, and then so the air was trapped just in the lungs, and then there was this compulsion for the release of the air to produce the sound B. You can feel the vibration, you know, those are plosives. So the likes of plosives are P, B, T, D, K, J. Then when it comes to fricatives, we have V and F. Okay, you can feel the the obstruction is keeping, in a sounds that sounds like a friction, that causes a friction, okay, that's it. Then you now have nasals. These are we have obstruction. They happen when there is an obstruction somewhere in the velum or the velar. Some call it uvula, but there's an obstruction there. And an example is when you have a sound like coming. You have coming like ing, threatening, okay, and then n, okay. You can feel that trap there in the production. The same goes with affricates, ch, 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 and ch, okay. Lateral, it happens same way. There's a stricture, somewhere along the air stream, that at the end of the day you have the production for L and R. So the approximant, the approximants, or they are called glide, is produced with little or no obstruction at the extreme. Okay, so the state of the glottis is another discussion. This is where the vocal power, the vocal cords are apart. This is where the vocal cords are apart. We talked about the state of glottis, what is happening there, and the production of the consonant sound. When it's thrown apart, the glottis, when there are no strictures, the sound produced is said to be voiceless. But when they come together, when there are strictures, forces on the stream or the vocal cords, that it causes it to vibrate, we have a voice sound. Okay, we are looking right now at the description of consonant sounds. How are consonant sounds described? If you go to that chart I showed you earlier on, you will find something. Okay, we've discussed that chart, but in the chart you will see the sounds, this inscription of the sounds in the boxes, bilabial, plosive, affricates. You just find them. So now, how do you describe this sound? Consonants, they have a way you describe them. Okay, if you're looking at the charts, I want to simply teach you how to describe it. Let's look at P. P is in a P and B, they are both in a box for bilabial and plosive. So if you want to describe P, for instance, okay, you start with the state of the glottis. Okay, before the state of the glottis, then the place of articulation, the manner of articulation comes last. So the state of the glottis for P will be voiceless, bilabial, plosive. Remember, it's voiceless. So try and do the practicality of pronouncing a P. You find out there is no vibration in the vocal cord. That's the state of the glottis. There's no vibration there, so it's voiceless. Same thing goes with B. B is already voiced, so the state of the glottis will be voiced, bilabial, plosive. You could just take it down like that. With all the sounds you can find that you can find in that chart. So for you to describe it, remember the first thing you look at is if it is voiced or voiceless. Okay, make it easier. All the sounds at the left hand side, they are voiceless. The ones in the right hand side, they are voiced. So that's that about that. So let's move into vowel sounds. Vowels, what are vowels? Vowels are sonorants, in the sense that the vowel sounds are considered with criteria like the position of the tongue, 1, how high it is or how low, okay, in a particular time, whether it is forward or backward, rounded or not. This is how you know a vowel, or these are the criteria for describing a vowel sound. They are basically produced with little restriction or obstruction, and its quality is dependent on the shape of the vocal cord or vocal tract as the air passes through it. Vowels can stand alone, and all vowels are voiced. They are classified into three. We have pure vowels as monotongues, I said that before. We have diphthongs and we have triphthongs. For the production of these vowel sounds, the tongue is demarcated into three. The front is the tip, the center, and the back. They are demarcated into three. So now they all play essential roles in vowel formation. The chart below shows the shape of the mouth and lips as the different tongue parts move to and fro as sounds are produced. Okay, this is the chart. This is chart below. You can see the front, the central, the back. You can see the close, the open, half. Excuse me. You can see the half open, and we can see the open. We have back, a back vowel. We have the R, vowel number 5. You can see them. Okay, so this is the description. Like we said earlier, the description for a vowel sound. How do you describe a vowel sound? It is simple. You could actually say a vowel sound. The first thing you do is to look at the shape of the mouth, if it is close, okay, and then the next one, if it is in the front, and then if it is rounded or not. These are how to define or describe a vowel. Let's take, for instance, E. That's the long one, the vowel number 1. We describe it as close front or rounded. And the example we can find in feel, teach, sit, free, tree, people, eat, and etc. So it goes that way. Any sound you pick as a vowel, and this is how you describe it. Okay, let's move to the next one. Diphthongs. What are diphthongs? I did mention diphthongs when I started earlier. Okay, diphthongs is a combination of two vowel sounds, depending on who is defining what a diphthong is. Different books have different definition of a diphthong, but I'll give you my own definition. It's just the collection of the different sounds in a vowel sound, the combination of two vowel sounds. Okay, but first let's look at what Chukwu says about diphthong. He says it is the union of two types of vowel sound, all vowel letters. The sounds in bite, spy are diphthongs. According to Anyang, her own definition, he said is a double sound. Diphthong is a double sound. And then you can get other definitions. Some other textbooks have it as a glide from one vowel quality to another. Okay, you can see that there in my slide. So we have diphthongs. We have how many do we have? We have eight diphthongs. Okay, and they are A, like in rage, fame, lake, J, shave, eight, rain, play, plane, plague, plague. You can see the way I pronounce it. Okay, we have another one as in I. I can find I. Vowel number 6. I can find it. Like I said, PowerPoint is not compatible with these symbols. Okay, but it's the example is seen in Troy, boy, buoyant, oil, foil, toil. You can see that. So the next one is oh, like in allow, down, found, round, town, cow, now, house. So it goes on and on like that. You can see the next one is triphthongs. Let's not look for any magical definition, but let's say it involves a quick gliding movement from one vowel sound to another and another, three vowel sound combined together, and then you have triphthongs. Okay, diphthongs about 2, then triphthongs about 3. So this is a union of three vowel sound produced or pronounced in one syllable. Okay, so we have examples as in hour, like flower. Okay, hour. Okay, you can see that power, shower, ire, like in fire, tire. You can see higher, trial. The examples are there. I can find my vowel number 12, and the third example of a liar, like in ire. Oh, it's not there, but okay. So it's supposed to be there. So vowel number 12 just added there. Okay, so suprasegmental. I mentioned suprasegmental features when I was making distinctive division of the sounds. So suprasegmental, they talk about the length, the pitch, the tonation, and the stress. They affect the way individual sounds or syllables are realized or produced. In English language, vowel or consonant length cannot change a word. They can't. But the tense or the how tensed or how last a word is can actually be used for emphasis. Okay, so now we are looking at what is stress. What is stress? This is when a word is pronounced with greater force than other word in the same sentence or in the syllable in the same word. When it is a verb, the stress is on the second syllable, but when it is a noun, it is on the first syllable. Okay, we can see the example there. Digest, 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 digest. Okay, so they mean different things. Okay, the classification of stress can be said to be secondary or weak, stressed or unstressed. And then we have the content words as verbs, noun, adjective, and adverbs. These are the words that can be stressed. Okay, here is my conclusion. Okay, this is my conclusion, and I'll read it. The sounds of English and its pronunciation is an aspect of English language that cannot be ignored. In fact, it is English in its entirety, and it is not like any other language whatsoever. Having gone through these sounds, it is important to acknowledge that it could be a taboo to speak English with Igbo language phonological features and units. Therefore, one should learn how to use these sounds and use them correctly. This is because as an English speaker and user, they are important to making spoken English important, interesting to others, and intending users as well. Okay, so with that being read, I'd like to add that it's not okay that um, the way we speak English with Igbo tonation. No, no, it's not okay. Just like if I'm a French woman, or a Spanish woman, Espanol, I will speak English without tonation. It's not good. So we should, just like these sounds are being exposed, we should look at the sounds and look at the words and pronounce it just like the native speakers will pronounce it. Do, it's difficult, but we can try. Okay, thank you and see you.